What's up, everyone? Bradley Jack Design here with another extensive design breakdown. This time we're going to take a look at this Justin Fields design I created. As a huge Bears fan and a huge Ohio State Buckeyes fan, it was wonderful to see him drafted by my beloved Chicago Bears. So we are going to dive right in and show you everything it took to make this. I even have folders in here already with all the swap stuff, so I can show you that. So first things first, we've got a bit of a background here that I made. It's a pretty simple background, really. It's a bunch of different layers to it. But if we zoom in here, we can see I basically just have an orange layer up at the top here and a blue layer down here at the bottom with some grass. And that has a gradient map over it using the navy blue of the Chicago Bears. I think I have it set to multiply. That's not the layer. I have it set to normal, actually, and just have the gradient map on top of it. It's linked to the bottom there. And then I just have these stripes up on the top. And these stripes are what's can be found on the Bears jersey, so that's where I came up with these. And then I just put them at an angle to make it a little bit more dynamic. I saved that out, which got us this. Then I just took a new layer with a brush, and I just took a splatter brush. Nothing too crazy. Just like a spot splatter brush like this. I just picked the color that was the same. Let me make this smaller. And then basically just painted over it at 100%. Just to give it a little bit more of a dynamic feel. A little bit of white. I'm just holding down the option key when I want to pick a different color. But I just did that on the edges because I knew the edges would be seen. The middle is covered up, so I didn't bother doing it to that. So let me go back here. So then that was saved, and this is what that looks like, that background. And then I found two photos on Unsplash, one by Ozzie Stern, who's a graphic designer I know, which is cool. And another one by a guy named Neil. These are just photos set to overlay that are masked to this top area so you can still see the splashes. And I just wanted to have those in the background as some extra texture as well. So I have those in the setting here. I then actually displaced it a little bit and crystallized it. So if you go and you do a crystallize, what it does is it adds just a little bit of roughness around all the edges. And you can go to filter, pixelate, crystallize to do that. And then I have a displace on it, and I'm not 100% certain what the displace is. I'm trying to remember what I was trying to displace it with. Might have been a texture. I'm not 100% certain. But it displaced it just a little bit. Maybe I had a lighting effect over it. I don't know. Anyway, we've got our little background now. And the background in the bottom here was all based on this small Justin Fields here at the bottom. But we'll talk about him later. I want to talk about the big Justin Fields here. I do also, just to note, have a texture going over the whole entire background set to multiply, just to darken everything up. Give it a little bit more texture. It's just sort of this marble texture. So that's the background. So I have 3 photos of Justin Fields here that I did jersey swaps on. So I'm going to dive in and show you what I did for each of those. So first we got this Justin Fields. Let me get rid of the layer mask. Here's the photo. So I've got the layer in here. I can go in here and show you the jersey swap, but it's all right here. So I did the jersey swap and then did all of these edits to it as well. So we'll take a look at that. But let's get rid of this. Let's turn this folder on so we can take a look at this swap stuff. So here's the photo of Justin Fields. This is a very easy photo to do a jersey swap for. Doesn't have a helmet on. You can't see, the numbers up here on his jersey. Basically, we just have shoulder, back shoulder, and this stuff on the front. And it's already cut off. So pretty simple jersey swap. So first I went ahead and erased the patches on the front. and a little bit of the number because I'm covering the number up with a different number, so there's only so much I had to do there. And that's just used with the stamp tool. Just made a new layer mask to it, zoomed in, held down the Option key to select an area, and then painted in specific areas to make it look realistic. Then I've got, let me see what some of these layers are. Some of these might be nothing actually, so that's nothing. I have a gradient map that is using the Chicago Bears blue here in the middle, and then a lighter version of the blue, and then it goes down to black. And I did a lighter version of a blue because if you look at a blue jersey, it doesn't have a full white on it. It usually has a light blue on it based on where the sun is hitting that specific light blue. I then have a clipping of the NFL logo here. Let's see what this is from. It's a photo of Mitch. So I took this photo of Mitch, just took this big nice emblem here, cropped it, and then rotated, positioned it over top of the Ohio State, or not the Ohio State, yeah, the Ohio State logo here to make it look the same. And then I've got a bit of a mask around it so it fades in a little bit, which it does a decent job of now, but it gets a little bit better. So then I have back shoulder over here. So we've got some stripes. Oops. We've got some stripes we can see that are basically covered up by that gradient map. I've got some shoulder blades around the side, and this is from a photo of Mitchell Trubisky in the back. So this is sort of the reverse. But I've got those here because it's just a couple stripes, not a big deal. Then I have a number 1. He's number 1. This is a clipping from, I think, either Trubisky jersey. Yeah, the same photo. I just stole the one from that, cropped the one out, had a little bit of feathering on it, and covered up the one that was already existing from his other jersey. I've got a hue and saturation layer up here to change the bandana from red to orange. Pretty simple, just went into the reds, boosted up the hue a little bit, and added a little bit of saturation back. Basically just played with the hue until it looked like the appropriate orange that I wanted. I then have his left shoulder. I've got a photo here. This is probably another photo of Mitchell Trubisky. Yep. Just another photo of Trubisky where I could see the photo or the shoulder here at a similar angle that he was in the original photo. Didn't have to be Trubisky, could have been anyone, but usually there's a lot of photos of quarterbacks. I then puppet warped this, as you can see here. So we turn it off, we turn it on. I used the puppet warp to manipulate it around so it matched the curve of his arm here down at the bottom and tucked in some of these areas so you could actually see them as well. And I masked out a bit of it too, so if I disabled the layer mask, this is the crop. But then I went ahead and masked it back in so the more natural side of his arm was already there. I then have a curves layer masked to just this area to darken up that area, and then a bit of a hue and saturation to get rid of some of that yellow that was in that. What is this? There's nothing? Yeah, another layer of nothing. And then I have this gradient map, which is just the same gradient map I used on the jersey because I wanted to make sure the colors matched. So it's a little light over here and it's not light down here. So I wanted to make sure that it was similar. So I turned that on and I painted it in just these spots. So you could only see it in these spots to just darken it just a little bit. No pixels there. So this pixels here, what did we do here? So I just darkened up an area over here a little bit and then darkened up an area down there. But that is the jersey swap. Pretty simple jersey swap. So if I turn that off and turn this on, I've got some general edits that were made to it. And on sharp mask, if you've watched my videos before, this is all pretty much the same settings. I think I have a little bit less of a mask on this one. And let's see what we did in the camera raw. So we did, I think, my general yellow fix. Yeah, we did just my BJD2 yellow fix. Might have tweaked the shadows up a little bit, tweaked the whites and blacks a little bit. I think I dumbed down some of these numbers just slightly. But you can see what they are here. Then if you do the BJD2, it'll turn these layers on like this. And then I painted away from his face, so it's just giving me orange there. I have a hue and saturation layer here to make the blue match the background better. So this is set to probably the cyans, boosted the hue up a little bit, and the blues I didn't touch. So it just touched the cyans to boost the hue to be closer to what I wanted. I have a curves layer, you can see, to boost the eyes a little bit. Hue and saturation layer to make the eyes more white. And then an overall selective color layer to boost the reds and the yellows, which if you've seen my video on selective color, that'll help out. But basically I got rid of some blue in both of those and then added in a little bit more yellow. I have a selective color on his lips, just so his lips were a little bit more pink than the rest of his skin, so he didn't look weird. Then I did another layer where I boosted the reds because I didn't think there was enough saturation. So I got rid of the cyans in the yellows and the reds. Did it boost the blues too? No, maybe. Nope. And then I have a curves layer going all around it to give it a little bit of a fringe. So this is a curves layer with some of the color adjustment on it. Boosted the reds, got rid of the blues. So this had a little bit of an orange hue to it. And I have that affecting only 77 and lighter in the blend if. And then I just masked out the bottom a little bit so you wouldn't see where the edge is. So that is one of the Justin Fields. I then actually added just a little bit of a flare behind him, which you can barely see, but it's just a flare. It's one of Ethan J. Design's flares, but it's right there. So that's one Justin Fields. This Justin Fields was a lot more difficult to do because there's a lot more going on. First of all, he has a helmet on. So let's take a look at what I did for that. So I'm going to turn this off, and I actually think I have swap stuff here. Here we go, swap stuff. So let me turn off all of this stuff. Again, it's much more extensive. So there's a lot more stuff here to go over. So we might be here for a while. But it's all for education, so that's good. All right, so we started off with this photo of Justin Fields. Just in a standard jersey. So what I wanted to do was I was going to have him in the away jersey, white jersey, since we started with a white jersey. And then I'm going to make his pants the navy blue because that's what the Chicago Bears pants look like. And then I can change all this other stuff. So I started off with I ended up cutting out these areas for stuff I added to it. And I'll do that when the time comes. But I'm going to keep this layer on so we can see what we're doing here. So just like the other one, started off getting rid of a lot of the logos and name badges and stuff on here. And I even got rid of some of the stuff on his chin because I put a whole nother helmet on top of this. And I wanted it to look realistic, so this stuff needed to not be a helmet underneath it. Then I got a gradient map down here to do his pants. And then I masked out the white of the drawstring here. And then I think I masked out part of this back here that we didn't want to cover. So I just wanted to make his pants blue. I have a bit of a selective color layer here to boost the blues a bit to make this blue the same as the background or similar. So I went ahead and did that. I went ahead and added this layer, which you can't really see what it's doing. So this is getting rid of some of the fringe from the original photo. This is changing the color to be white or a more accurate blue. Let me put this here. Hue and saturation layer, just like the bandana, to change the back here and his wristbands to be orange instead of red. And then what we've got going on here. So I needed the Chicago Bears stripes. So I've masked to this area just the stripes on the Chicago Bears. And let's see what that original photo was. So again, it's a photo of Mitch. I went ahead and took this, flipped it and reversed it. And then I used a little bit of masking. And then I used the puppet warp to warp it along the curve of his buttocks. So then it worked out. So it looks realistic. Oh, we can get rid of the puppet warp. Then what we got going on? Bit of a selective color, just painted to this area to make it so the colors match here and here. So you can see I took away a lot of the magenta, added in some yellow and black. Went ahead and added just a bit of a shadow underneath his shirt and his jersey so it looked a little bit more realistic. And then what do we got selected here? We've got an exposure. So I wanted a little bit of a shadow underneath the helmet image I used. So I went ahead and added a little bit of a shadow here. But we can talk about that once the helmet is introduced. So I then have here just the Nike logo. I stole off some pants somewhere. Whose pants did I steal these from? Another photo of Trubisky. I just wanted a photo of a Chicago Bears player where you can see the Nike logo easily. And I sort of manipulated it so it fit. Then we come up here to the original jersey. I've got NFL logo, just like in the other swap we did. This again, another photo of Mitch. Just a high-res photo, essentially, is what I was looking for. Way too bright, though. So I darkened it a lot with curves, and then I added in a coloring layer where I just took a sample of somewhere out here, painted it over this, and then I dumbed down the exposure as well so it blended in to the rest of the shirt. I've got this layer here, which is just a puppet warped photo of a number 1 with a little bit of a selective color to change some of the colors. And I did the same thing, not there, somewhere else in here. Yeah, we'll find it later. And this is from another photo of Mitchell Trubisky. So one of his shoulders, he's just number 1, so I put it there. Didn't worry about it covering the helmet because we replaced the helmet completely. But that's just a little bit of puppet warping to manipulate it. Normally there, I just brought up the right-hand side of it. So then I've got a left shoulder and I believe a right shoulder. Left shoulder, right shoulder. Again, look to our surprise, it's a photo of Mitchell Trubisky. I like to source images from the same photo if they're at the same angle. That way we can use them. I went ahead and took this, darkened the bottom here underneath the shadow. Went ahead and painted in and got rid of some of the white. Or got rid of some of the yellow there. And actually I can see where this might have moved around a little bit. Whoops, you can see here. Let me make this much smaller. You can see here where I actually painted a little bit over this, but this is basically getting rid of some of the yellow. And this is doing the same. You can see it's changing the color faintly to match this area. And then a curves layer to brighten up everything a little bit just so it matches up here as well. So then on this side, I did the same thing. Photo, look at that, Mitchell Trubisky, here's his shoulder. Went ahead and pasted that there. I might have tweaked it a little bit so it fit. Masked it so it fit the area. I've got a layer set to color with a sample over here to color in these areas so the whites match. You can see they don't match here, they match here. Bit of exposure at the bottom to match the shading. And that was all I needed to do there. I've got just a little peak of a 1 there. And this is actually from, hey, look at that. Photo of Darnell Mooney. So these are nice straight ones. He's number 11. So I went ahead and took that and just put it on there. Really just adjusted it because you can only see the top of it from the initial image. So I wanted to mirror that. Here's another image of just a 1 up here. I think I got this from that Darnell Mooney photo. Nope, that's Trubisky again. Put it up there, a little bit of puppet warp. So I've got that going on there. Now we get to the helmet. So I hate doing helmet swaps because they're really hard. So he's technically using a Speed Flex helmet here, but I just went ahead and found this photo of Mitchell Trubisky at a similar angle, flipped it, so he's looking that way. So we've got, this helmet is real, this helmet is fake. If I wanted this to be more realistic, I probably would have gotten a Speed Flex, but I wanted to just do this and I don't like helmets. So I got this photo of Mitch. I selected this and made an exposure layer to go underneath so it has a little bit of a shadow. So we've got that photo here. And this is where the masking would come in. So there's a little bit of area over here and up top that I masked out of this image so you could only see the spots I wanted to. Oh, that's a Nike logo. Okay. All right, so we go back up here to where the helmet is. I've got a selective color layer to change the blue. I've got a selective color to change the blue again. I've got a bit of an exposure to expose in this area, and I'll show you why, I guess. And I've got an exposure up here to darken up this area as well, because I found this photo of Justin Fields looking to his right. And I just took that photo and I just masked it inside of the helmet and called it a day. So I threw it in there so it looked like he was looking the same direction, down to the exposure on the outside so it looks more natural, where the helmet would be putting a shadow on him. I've got a bit of an exposure to darken up the whole part of it. Selective color to change the colors a bit. It was a little too different from his arms, so I wanted to match it a little bit better. And I just dumbed down the yellows, I think, or the reds. The reds, I added some magenta and took away some yellow and cyan. Added another selective color to boost the reds again. Then I have this layer, which is doing nothing. What are we doing here? Is this even in the final? Hold on. Yeah, okay. What's going on here? Very confused as to what that is. Yeah, it should be the C on the helmet. I don't know why it's not showing up. That's kind of weird. Oh, it's because the mask is over here and it's not over here. That's the problem. There. That's very bizarre. Anyway, it's in the final. So I took a C from the helmet and masked it to the edge here around the photo. I think actually if I go like this. Like this layer mask. There we go. So I masked the C to the edge and I manipulated it and tweaked it so it looked like it was going at the correct angle. And then reversed the bears up here so it read normally. And then I had a couple hue and saturation layers on top of that to manipulate the eyes a little bit. Make the eyes white, brighten the eyes up a bit, and then just the overall saturation of what? Something. Can't even tell. So, cool. So that is the swap of Justin Fields in the front. So it looks like this. So I did the same settings, BJD2 with the yellow fix, changed the blues to match the other colors with a hue and saturation layer, added a selective color layer to boost the reds by taking away cyan, and then I added that same fringe to this photo as to this photo. And I think I ended up taking away some of it when I was tweaking this because the background originally was all orange, but since it's blue, we don't really need the fringe down here because there's no orange down there. That is the front fields. So we got 2 down, 1 to go. And I have this masked at the bottom as well, just so there was no harsh line. So I got rid of that. Enable lay mask. And then I actually have another flare behind him again. Real faint. I know it's there. You guys don't need to. It's fine. So then I have the small Justin Fields down here. I was originally going to just have 2, but then I was talking to someone on Twitter and they were like, hey, here's mine. I'm going to have these 3 here. And then I just put this photo in and went, oh yeah, I should probably do that. That would look sweet. Composition wise, because we've got big, littlest. It's like a Goldilocks thing. And the 3 bears joke. Let me get rid of all these layers. So I threw this image of Justin Fields in here. Great image of him from the front. Nice high quality photo to use. Nice full jersey swap we can do here. So let's zoom in on him and see what we got going on. So again, start by erasing everything you need to erase. So we erased these guys, we erased his number, we erased the Nike logo down here. And that's just using the stamp tool. I went ahead and used a hue and saturation layer to get rid of all this green. I went ahead and then put a little bit back in just so this looked a little bit more natural, but you can see it's getting rid of the green hue, and that is just by going to the greens and selecting that with the eyedropper here and then knocking it down all the way to 0. Got a gradient map, same one we used before, or a similar one at least. Maybe the blue changed, moved over a little bit to paint the pants blue. Then I've got a hue and saturation layer to change the socks to be orange and the wristbands to be orange as well. Then I added a number back in. What number did we use? Just a 1 from this Mitchell Trubisky photo. And there's 2 of them for some reason. Oh well. I went ahead and made it way darker because this is clearly not dark enough. I then added a couple layers on top where I used the stamp tool to paint over so the lines were more natural. I think I duplicated the background a little bit and added just a little bit more shading to the 1 as well. So we've got the 1 on him. Then I spent actually a lot of time swapping this helmet out. So we'll see. None of this stuff is labeled. So we'll see what this looks like. So I got a gradient map up here to paint a little bit of the helmet. I think I found an actual photo of the helmet. Yeah, to use. So I did a couple things here. I masked out a bunch of the area around his initial helmet, which makes more sense in a second than what I can think of. Let's turn this on. Let's turn all these off. Okay, so we got the number, we got the shading, we got the curves, we did that. We got a little bit of a gradient map to paint in these specific areas. Then I have this layer, which is mysterious, but we'll see what it does. So then I have this photo of a helmet that I masked to this area. I masked it to sort of where the helmet was. And this is a photo of Trubisky throwing it in the same angle. I actually found a photo of him at the same angle, so I went ahead and added that, which is what you should do when you're doing jersey swaps. Let's find similar helmets at the similar angles. So I've got a couple of other layers on here to do some coloring and color changing on the back here. And that's pretty much the helmet. That took a lot longer than me just showing. It's pretty much masked to everything around the mask here. So I left this tag in here, and then I masked out everything behind the face mask. So I think if I select this is where it's masked to. So anything inside here is where is being shown. Anything on the other side is the original mask, and that's why I have that gradient map layer to paint in that area in the background. And I'm sure I have some more up here. Let's take a look. So I've got this layer here, which is a hue and saturation layer. What is this a photo of? So this is a photo of the initial helmet. So I knew I wanted to paint back in some of it. So that's what this is. I'm painting in just the mask area on top of what I already had, just so nothing was being erased on accident. Got a gradient map layer to fix some of the other spots that were shining through, anywhere that was silver. And then I went ahead and have another gradient map layer, which I painted on top of the face mask because the bears in the original photo have a blue on blue with the face mask. So I think that's what I did for the helmet. Let's see if any of these other... Oh, and then I painted this gray thing orange because it's orange on Bears team. So there's the helmet swap. Let's go back down here to where we were. I think I did the helmet last. I got a shoulder here on the left. I probably have a shoulder on the right. So we got some shoulders here. These came from a good old photo of Darnell Mooney, actually. Like this, he's looking straight on, so his shoulders are square. So this was a great photo to use as a reference. So I went ahead, cropped that, puppet warped it a little bit so the bottom here matched where his armpit is. Brightened it up a bit. Added some... So that's an empty layer. I went ahead and added back in a little bit of the one. I think I just reversed this, so there's a one going across the top. And then over here on the right-hand side, did something you can't even see, so that's cool. But then I've got this layer of a one with a puppet warp on it with the shoulder, so it matches up the lines as well to where the regular jersey would be. And then a couple layers with some stamping to match the rest of the jersey. And then I have a gradient map here now to match the white here of the play calling sheet. Made that orange just because. Let me zoom back out here a little bit. So we've got this here. This is an empty layer. We'll delete it. And this is probably an empty layer. We'll delete it. So there you go. So that is the Justin Fields swap. All in all, that took a lot of time. So I turn this on. Before, after. This again is using the same BJD yellow fix, which gives you this. I then went ahead and painted out the areas of his skin because you can see, and you can still see on here because I think some stuff moved around. You can see how yellow his skin is. I want to make it not yellow. We'll go in here and just fix that a little bit. We got that fixed. Hue and saturation layer to match the blues. And then a curves layer to give him a little bit of that outline like the other ones that we did. So that is a lot of what I did here. Those are the three swaps. Those are the main bulk of what I did here. Then I just added some extra super fun stuff. So I've got just his name, Justin Fields QB1 with his signature in the background in orange. If you want to see how to do signatures, I've got a whole separate video on how I add signatures. I was told I should have swapped out these balls for NFL balls. I just didn't really feel like doing it. Yep, I just didn't want to. So then I've got some overlays going on, as a lot of my stuff that you've seen. So I've got a dust scratch in the front here. I've got a lens dirt with a little bit of a gradient map on it to make it a little bit orange. So you got some orange on the bottom. I've got one of Ethan's light leaks on here. I then took all of that stuff, grouped it together, made a new layer, camera raw filter edits on that to flesh everything together, a little bit of manipulation, duplicated that to have a little bit of a sort of a blurry fringe around certain areas. Then I have that same light leak here, duplicated on top so it's accentuated a little bit more. Added my logo and the Bears logo at the bottom. And then one final selective color to make it a little bit more orange. And you can see the blue's a little magenta, so I went ahead and tweaked that to make it more blue and more orange. But that's it. That is the Justin Fields design. A lot of jersey swap methods in there saved out as smart objects. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I hope you guys learned a lot of stuff. If you guys have any suggestions for a video you want to see or tutorial suggestions, let me know. If you have any ideas of stuff you want to see on my stream, I'm always available. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. If you want to see some behind the scenes stuff that I do, have exclusive offers on stuff in my store, see what I'm working on, client work before it's posted, you can check out my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/BradleyJackDesign. I think I'm 12 patrons away from giving away a free print similar to this, maybe. I'll do that once a month once I hit 30 subscribers or Patreons on there. So I would appreciate if you took a look at that. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and just make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.